Quiet on set. Picture is up. All right, roll sound.
Rolling.
Roll cameras.
Cams rolling.
And 3, 2.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Hank's Think Tank. It's Friday morning. Looks like we're going to have a great weekend. It's hot outside though. And I got to be honest, I'm looking forward to fall. But I got a great show today. I've got Mark Linabury in. He is the president and CEO of the Greater EMC Chamber right here in East Montgomery County. And I've been wanting to have this guy in for a while. I'm excited about our conversation. I'm excited about the chamber, actually. This chamber has exploded in growth. I'm going to let him tell us all about it. And good morning, Mark. How's it going?
Good morning, Hank. Thanks for having me on the show.
That's great, man. I've been looking forward to doing this for quite a while.
Well, you have coffee.
There you go.
And that's and these are great cups.
Yeah,
by
they're
the
awesome.
way. So,
yeah.
but again, no, seriously, thanks for
executive series.
You do. I know. I'm hoping I'll come back and work my way up to
there
that.
You go. You got a co-host to get one of these, but we can do that.
Okay,
yeah, that'd be awesome. So let's talk about the chamber a little bit. Now, I was invited actually to luncheon this past Wednesday. I couldn't make it, but I did find out that you guys were booked solid and had like a waiting list.
Yes.
What's the deal with that?
Well, things are exciting in East Montgomery County. Yeah, it's been a really interesting dynamic of watching the excitement with the luncheons in general just happen. That's just one of the things we do. We do a lot more as a chamber. It's not just about a luncheon.
Right.
But it seems to have turned into our signature event on a monthly basis because we hold those on the first Wednesday of each and every month. And so what basically happened is people kept telling other people, you need to come to one of these. You really should experience that. There's something different going on with the chamber. And right. So we introduced a philosophy to make sure that everything we do is fun, it's friendly, and it's informative. And if we don't have those three things involved with anything that we do, then we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. But that has tended to resonate. And we added a featured caterer program to our luncheon, so the food is actually phenomenal.
Yeah, the food's astronomical.
Yeah,
for sure.
So why not have good food at a luncheon? But we have great guest speakers, and we really adopted a new philosophy for this chamber to be member-focused and opportunity-driven. So we really highlight our members. We do a great new member presentation. We have opportunities to just showcase members and pretty much each and everything that we do.
Right. And y'all still have Chamber 101, right?
Yeah, we do. We actually do that right before the luncheon. So our new members will come in, and actually existing members who might not be aware of some of the changes that have happened within memberships or what they even have available to them with their membership. It's an eye-opening experience. Saying, I didn't know I could do that. And so, yeah, we have existing members come and learn about their chamber membership as well as the new ones. What we found the Chamber 101 so important and why it's so important is we're a membership organization, pure and simple. We're a business membership organization, and new members are great, but what's even better are renewing members.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Like any membership organization, I don't know if it's the health club industry or anything that's membership based, you got to have people coming back. Right. So if you don't understand what your membership's all about and how to utilize it and get the most out of it, your chances of dropping out are that much greater. So we really do focus on trying to make sure you as a member understand the membership, how to utilize the opportunities and implement them to connect and grow.
And you do have a very high retention rate, don't you?
We do.
I think it's somewhere in the upper 80, 90%.
Yeah, well, we're just finished the middle of the year, so we've retained, based on last year's memberships, we've retained 93%.
Wow.
At this
great.
point, and we are growing at a 9% rate right now.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's about equal to the growth of the county itself then?
Could be.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Wow, that's good.
But yeah, we're definitely continue to be in growth mode. Rewind a little bit if you want. I know we don't like to revisit 2020 too much, but everybody suffered on that in terms of certain areas, but some businesses thrived through that as well, specifically in Montgomery County and in East Montgomery County. The expectations were different and the results were definitely different. But yeah, we maintained, and then 2021 hit and bam, we grew actually 20%.
Really?
In 2021, yes.
Well, I think 2020 taught everybody a lesson. it kind of didn't really put the brakes on, but it certainly slowed things down and gave everybody an opportunity to just kind of kick back and evaluate what was going on and what was happening. And I think a lot of companies realized that they needed something like the chamber to help them to grow and market and learn and become better community-oriented members as well. Because when you own a business in Montgomery County, you're not on your own anymore. You're part of the community, and you need to make sure that you show that. And one of the better ways to do it is to become a chamber member.
It's actually, I'm the man of many slogans. I bring a lot of marketing and promotional experience to the position, but we have a slogan that's part of everything we do. I end every luncheon with it, and it's not just about doing business in the community. It's about being part of the business community, and that is what a chamber membership is all about.
That's it.
You become part of the business community. In fact, our ribbon cuttings are not about a new business. They're not about celebrating a grand opening. They're about thanking you for being part of the business community. That's what our chamber is all about.
That's cool. I like that. And so you're housed inside of the Atrium Center.
Yes.
Over on 59. And how long have you been there? The chamber's been there since inception, or?
As far as I know, as far as that building has been there, and it was formerly known as the MCED complex, right?
Right.
And now branded as the Atrium Center, because now it's a contemporary event center, where we are officed within that building, as well as MCED upstairs. It is their building. They generously provide us that office space. We have a great synergistic relationship with the Improvement District. So that is where we office. So it's really kind of nice to have some functions right outside our doors,
right?
To be able to do our monthly luncheons, and we've actually moved our monthly breakfast there as well too, because we've outgrown being able to do it anywhere else.
Yeah,
it was one of the things. We started this conversation of why are these events sold out, and they just are. You have to experience it. That's
right.
I don't know if I can really put it into words.
Well, I've been to a few of your luncheons, and they're great.
Yeah.
And all the speakers are always high end. I was like, where do they get these guys at, and who plans all that? So does a lot of those ideas for speakers come from the membership, or do you guys sit back and go, okay, well, this is what we need, and this is who we need to get to talk?
Yeah,
I've had some great speakers.
Thank you. It is a team effort. I have a great staff. There's 4 of us that works. Myself, Bobby Bodenhammer, our director of operations, who's been the longest employee with us, and then Tyler Jones is our director of communications, and Sherry Huber, who's our director of development. We all work together on making these events happen and come up with ideas, and we get together every Monday morning with our staff meetings and know where we have goals just like any business.
Sure.
We have benchmarks and metrics just like any business, and we address those each and every Monday to see where we're at and then come up with new and innovative ideas. But we're always listening, coming up with suggestions, ideas. What I like to bring to the table is we don't want to be a Me Too chamber, and just because someone else had a guest speaker, maybe we should have the same guest speaker.
Right.
Or you start to see a lot of the repetitive nature of things.
Yeah, you see that in this area too, in podcasting.
Yeah.
So it happens.
Well, you seem to always be on this show.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm kind of a continuing guest, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
continuing guest. But I'm always trying to come up with something a little different, a little innovative, something you didn't see coming, because I think that's what resonates too.
I believe it is. Yeah, for sure. So it seems like after a while, though, it would be hard to continue to come up with fresh ideas. Well, your ideas are always great.
I think that's what I love. That's why I get up each and every morning with purpose.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be that routine. I like the challenge, because there's always a challenge. How are we going to pull this off, right?
Oh, yeah.
I just don't have that anxiety level. That doesn't exist with me.
Yeah.
And so there's a level of confidence, let's be honest about it, that I'm like, bring it on.
That's good.
Yeah, let's make this happen. Let's find a way to make it happen. And going back to even 2020, you were talking about how important it was for businesses to try to find a way to connect.
Right.
Well, we couldn't in person connect.
It was tough.
You couldn't do it. So we moved really quickly, because I have, a digital background. And so we went virtual real quickly and started connecting people. And, there was that struggle at first, if you remember it.
Oh, yeah, it was fun.
I do not want to do this. I do
I liked
not.
it.
For those of us that embrace that,
Right.
and the early adopters and all that, we knew how to use the technology, but we slowly brought everybody on. But we were
Right.
connecting all the time, and we were doing chamber check-ins with our members virtually and just seeing how their business is doing and how we could help them. And then we actually put on an entire business conference virtually. We called it BizFest 2020.
Really?
And so we had everything that you would find at a business conference, a small business conference. We had an expo with trade show booths, virtual trade show booths. We had breakout sessions to work on your business, and we had keynote speakers as part of it as well. And this was all done in a virtual environment, and it was a blast. We had about 150 people participate in this. So you would go visit, and it was a gamification point to it as well. You got points for visiting booths, and there was a leaderboard, and it was fun. And we're actually bringing it to physical form at the Atrium Center September 22nd.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it'll be known as Expo.
Yeah.
Expo 2022, celebrating business. The word conference just seems kind of boring to me, so I wanted, so
Kinda
we're
corporate.
Yeah, kind of corporate and boring. So we're celebrating business with our expo.
Well, that's cool. So, see, you learned a lot from 2020 as well.
Yeah.
And so, any of that virtual stuff still in existence? Did you carry it forward?
No, not in terms of connecting virtually, other than every once in a while I have to have a meeting with somebody and we can't get together, and I have to remind myself how to
Yeah, I think
crank up.
Zoom and Teams and all that just came a norm for
Right.
most people now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people hadn't used it before 2020.
Yeah. Once we got back to being able to meet in person, we were one of the first in the chamber industry to make it happen.
Yeah.
And just do it. And that was another reason why the growth really happened in 2021, because we were one of the first to start putting the boots on the ground, so to
Right.
speak, because they were so ready for the opportunities to connect. And so
Yeah, everybody needed it.
they
And,
needed it.
I know a lot of the other area chambers, I'm not going to mention any names,
No.
but I know that they shut down.
Right.
When 2020 came, they just stopped. And so I think they lost members in that process. And I think a lot of people started hearing about your chamber and said, well, wait a minute, these guys are still rocking. They're still rolling. They're still doing stuff. So, it always impresses me how East Montgomery County comes out when something's going on. Every time. This place never fails.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's something in the air, if there's something in the environment or what, but this community just never fails.
Well,
ever.
we've got good people.
Yeah.
You've got pioneers that have been here, family units that have been here a long time, and you've got a lot of new people, as you know, that are coming and are being attracted to this area, and we're bringing quality people to the area. And there's certain reasons you got to do things to bring quality people to the area that bring great ideas for opportunity. You'll hear me use that word a lot, opportunity, and because that's, when you live this close to a big city like Houston, it's kind of hard to stop if you're in a growing environment,
sure,
you're right? And so we know it's coming our way. So how do we embrace it?
Those boundaries are already blurry.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, who knows where
And
it's
do we
gonna
call
go.
it the 59 or the 69? I don't know. Can we?
Some people call it 69, some people call it 59. It'll never be 69 for me. It'll
No,
always be 59.
always 59, right?
Because I'm a kid.
There's a
so-
T-shirt to be made there. Always 59.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
You are a marketing guy, aren't you? So, the East Montgomery County Improvement District, right there in the same building, and you guys have a great relationship with them, which, from what you were telling me in an earlier conversation, is a little unusual. I'd like to talk about that a little bit because I'm kind of fond of MCED myself. And so, let's talk about what they do and how they help you guys and
Sure.
how y'all work together.
Sure, absolutely. So in pretty much every area that you go to, a city or something like that, basically either a city is formed and it's amazing how many people don't realize that where we're at is not a city.
Right.
Right. It's unincorporated. We're an area. And so that creates some challenges, as well, but
Absolutely.
it also creates some opportunities that you might not necessarily have in other areas. But back in '97, the Improvement District was formulated based on a community vote, right? And they became the taxing authority that takes a small portion of sales tax, and they use that for three primary reasons. And one of those reasons is economic development. So a lot of, and the others, just briefly, is their education component, right?
Right.
And their community improvement component. But we'll stick on the economic development side of it, because that's what we were really talking about. Is most cities will have EDC, an Economic Development Corporation.
Right.
And they're funded a couple different ways. They can be very similar to a chamber, which is that they are membership based. So they have companies that pay in as members to support. And their job is specifically to attract businesses to their area.
Right.
And it can be pretty competitive between these EDCs. But
I'll bet.
Because they're trying to say our area is better than yours, and this is why you want to open your business here or move your business here. And sometimes that works really well with chambers, but sometimes I've noticed some across the country don't have that great relationship because they're competing for the same membership dollars. We're so fortunate out here because of the way MCET is funded. Through that component of sales tax. So we become kind of the front marketing face for our business community, so to speak,
right.
In a neat way. And it's something we call being vibrant and engaged. Because we do a lot of marketing, and you're seeing this business community not just because you showed up physically to something. We're doing videos and high quality production value photography. Right. You get to see, wow, that business community is different. They're engaged, they're participating. And I just, if I were in an economic development role and going out on a road show and trying to attract people to be able to show that, look how vibrant and engaged our business community is, that's a pretty important component to your marketing. Yeah. And so to have a vibrant and engaged Chamber of Commerce should be important, I would believe, to any economic development component or any city that's trying to attract businesses to their area. So I'm just glad that we're able to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's double-edged, really, because it's something great for MCED to point back to. And then again, your members have MCED right there if they need them. So,
exactly. And we've seen that. We see that happen all the time. Yeah. And I'll tell you what's happening here in East Montgomery County is, yes, we are growing. We're seeing opportunities. People are watching. People are looking. They are seeing what we're doing. And, they're looking to open a second location, maybe a third location. And they may not have looked over at East Montgomery County previously. But guess what they're doing now?
I bet.
Yeah.
And we've got the property for it. There's so much land out there. It's crazy.
They're looking here now, and they're seeing, this is a great place to do business.
Yeah. Awesome. So what are your plans for the chamber for the next 2 years? I mean, since you're maxed out on growth, basically, what are you going to do?
Well, we're maxed out on growth in terms of attending a luncheon. And again, we're so much more than a luncheon. We offer opportunities throughout the month, at least one opportunity to participate in something with us each and every month. And it starts with that monthly luncheon the first Wednesday of every month.
And that's more of a networking thing too, isn't it?
It can be because people, we say the doors open at 11, and I guarantee people start showing up at 10:30.
Oh, yeah.
And so, they start coming in. But yes, there's that front end of it where we want the welcoming and networking environment. Then we open up the food component. People get to their tables, and they're still having a great time talking and sitting at tables with hopefully some new people that they don't know. Right. And making new connections and building new relationships through that. And then we start the program at noon. And, the first 30 minutes of that is a lot of chamber business and announcements and welcoming new members and thanking sponsors and things along the way. But then that second half of that is about our guest speaker. And so actually, Frank McCready will be our next guest speaker for our September luncheon.
Cool.
Yeah. So if you want to know what's happening with MCED and some of their upcoming announcements, or if you haven't heard some of the recent announcements, this will be a luncheon that you would want to attend. And be part of that. So
is it already sold out?
It's not yet. So we just opened up registration right after we finished our other luncheon. So now would be the time to go ahead and get a slot in there and guarantee yourself a seat on that. And then so the second week of every month, our second Thursdays of the month, we do something called Traveling Thirsty Thursdays. Okay. And it's an after hours networking, really laid back, and it's a true networking event. We just want it to be fun, and there's not a lot of structure to the program. But we go and support our member restaurants and bars, and we found we actually bring some good economic impact to these locations that we go to. So I actually started asking the question, what do we actually bring here compared to your other second Thursdays of the month? And we found that we're actually more than doubling their revenue for the amount of time that we're there. In fact, double and a half is the most recent report that I received.
And what time does this usually take?
4:30 to 6:30, second Thursdays of the month. We will actually be at the Courtyard by Marriott in Kingwood, right off of North Park Plaza. Right. Right there.
Okay.
And it's a great way to just get to meet people and pass some business cards. And our
so it's an informal social. You just kind of go around. And,
But now we do some fun with it. We have a presenting sponsor, and that's Porter Insurance Agency.
Okay.
And Shane Harper graciously donates. Also, he purchases a $100 gift card from the place that we are at supporting that night, and somebody wins a door prize.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're there to support that business as well, and so our sponsors are really, really important part of that formula. But we, what used to be a 20 to 30 person event is now a 60 person event on those Thursdays.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And
for some of these places, that's a lot.
That's a lot. And that actually is our challenge as well. Capacity. We're having problems. If we're going to call it traveling Thirsty Thursdays and we got to go to different places, they got to be able to handle what we're doing. So we're excited to see what new opportunities may be coming our way, that hopefully their bar area will have capacity.
What a great problem to have.
It's an amazing problem to have. Yeah. And then so the third Wednesday is our business networking breakfast, and that is sponsored and presented by Service Master. So we before COVID, HCA Houston Healthcare Kingwood graciously sponsored that breakfast and provided the breakfast, and we would all gather there in their community room. And then, of course, 2020 happened, and that stopped. Yeah. But then in 2021, we were able to start gathering again, but the healthcare system was not ready for that, nor were we ready.
Sure, I understand.
To go there. So we had to try to find a place, and we found a local establishment that wasn't opened at breakfast, and said, "Hey, we'll do a breakfast for you." And so people would actually pay them directly an adequate fee for a buffet breakfast, and that grew. And we had to make some modifications, and we went to another local hotel, which is the Best Western Premier. Okay. Up here over in the Grand Texas area, right by Speed Sports and all there. Beautiful hotel. And on the second floor, they have some great meeting space, and they have a great menu, actually. If you ever just want to drop by in a place that you didn't think you were going to grab a bite, you should go check it out.
It's a good place, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, we will.
Yeah, go check it out. But we started to really outgrow their space. So I had to look at it. The same question you've been asking. What are you going to do? Your luncheons are sold out every single month. We've reached capacity on those. So I said, well, let's just grow our breakfast and turn that into a secondary event, because not everybody can make the luncheon, because they may be involved with an organization that meets on the same day. I hear that a lot. We can't come to your luncheon because we have this other event. Well, guess what, guys?
We can do a breakfast.
We can do it at breakfast, and we turn it into a really fun and festive breakfast because it's morning time.
Sure.
We need to get the energy levels up a little bit, so I treat it a little more like a game show. Yeah. And we're giving away prizes and doing things. But what's really important about the breakfast, and the element that I always loved about our breakfast, was you get a chance to stand up with the microphone, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and
it's a good way to make people nervous.
Well, it works. It's such a fun, friendly group. There's no way. You may walk in the door nervous, but you will not leave nervous ever again. You're going to feel, like I said, I can only use words so much. You almost have to experience it. But why that's so important, that's really how you get the value out of being a chamber member. There's two words: show up.
Yeah, you have to work it. You
Yeah.
can't just join and kick back and think
Yeah.
something's going to happen.
And the show
Yeah,
up
you gotta
formula
work
is really important because we got to become familiar with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it takes a while to remember somebody's name these days.
Right.
And so I really do appreciate, name tags, and
Mm-hmm.
those are helpful. But it's, through the familiarity, you start to build relationships. And I guarantee you, guess where business comes from? It's not
Oh,
because
yeah.
you're listed somewhere. It's through relationships,
Absolutely.
and that's really what a chamber does, is we build relationships for everybody. So if you participate and take advantage of the opportunities, you're going to make some amazing relationships that'll take you to another level. And so that is the third opportunity of the month. And then our fourth is actually a small business owner workshop that is presented and actually facilitated by Stander and Company. And they come in, and recently we've been working on marketing. That
Okay.
seems to be the number one thing small business owners
Sure.
really want to understand and wrap their arms around. And we meet at Hofbrau for that event in their back room. And there's not a charge to come to it, but we encourage you to purchase lunch and support the restaurant while we're there. And
Hofbrau's a good place to
it
eat
is,
anyway.
yeah, it's great, and
Yeah.
James is so amazing for us, and he's always so receptive, and it works more as like it should, a workshop. So this is a chance where you get to ask questions, and maybe someone else in that group says, you know what, I dealt with that, Hank, and this is how we got through it, or how we handled that, and you have somebody facilitating it that has just an amazing array of experience in the business and entrepreneurial world. Nicholas Stander and his staff come in there each and every time, and it's a really cool experience.
And so the topics are marketing and what else? I mean, management, I guess, everything else.
Yeah,
huh?
it could be a little bit of everything. Sometimes we even just cover basic, how should your business be insured? Different topics like that. We actually started out covering QuickBooks.
And see, that's all stuff that's really hard to find.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get on the internet and you can attempt it, but what happens is you get a million results,
Right.
And so then you get a million different opinions and views, and it doesn't apply necessarily to where you're at and what you're doing.
Yeah, the
So,
localized
that's a good
level.
idea.
Mhm. Yeah, and that was one of the, we know we have larger companies coming to this area. We know as a chamber, we're going to grow, and we will have more corporate influence. It's just a natural progression
Sure. It's
of
gonna
an area like that. But we never want to forget the small business owner. That's the cream of the crop of,
Oh, yeah.
of
Absolutely.
business and
Yeah,
the
the bedrock when you
entrepreneurial.
look at
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
the entrepreneurial spirit. So there's always a seat at the table for that, because I've watched it happen before. I've been involved with lots of organizations over the decades now that you start to feel like you don't have a place. And so I want to make sure that never happens with this chamber. And that small business owner workshop is really a component of that.
I like that idea.
It's specifically
Yeah, that's
designed.
great.
Yeah.
'cause
So that.
Everybody can say, "Oh, I've been in business 20 years, I know it all," but no, because we're in an ever-changing market and an ever-changing environment, and so what used to work 2 years ago may not work now because of COVID.
Right.
So I mean, what a great idea.
Well, I recently went through Leadership Montgomery County, and
Awesome.
it's a great program. One of their
Yeah.
core values is never stop learning.
Right.
You just you will never know it all.
Right.
And don't think that you do. And so I love that. I love just being able to continue to bring more to the table, fresh ideas, different perspectives. It is, you don't force feed your philosophy.
Right.
And
Leadership Montgomery County is a great, great, great opportunity. And it is an opportunity because you have to be nominated, don't you?
Well, yeah, you basically, it's an application process in Leadership Montgomery County. So we as a chamber do a smaller version, a leadership program. It's called Pathway to Leadership EMC, and that one you do have to be recommended by alumni.
Really?
Because we only have 20 spots.
Wow.
We don't want to do an open call application process, because I tell you, it's not fun to not be accepted.
Right. That's understandable. Yeah.
Right. And, we're specifically looking for people that want to serve East Montgomery County in leadership roles, maybe serve on a nonprofit board, serve on a chamber board, possibly MSED board, but, really get understand the dynamics of how East Montgomery County works. What I loved about the Montgomery County one is I got a true understanding of how Montgomery County works. It's and we need to be very synergistic in the whole approach.
Absolutely.
And it's not just about us, but there are some very unique things that we have to us,
Right.
is what I learned. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cool part about Montgomery County, and what a lot of people don't really realize, is even though we have individual municipalities within Montgomery County, everybody pretty much works together.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
and they're really not all that different.
What did
You
you
know?
What did you hear over COVID? Well, number one, you heard, "I'm so thankful that I live in Texas," right? And
Right.
then the follow up to that was, "I am so thankful I live in Montgomery County," and you didn't know that unless you experienced it. And
Right.
I heard that a lot. And I get it, and I understand it, and I was thankful too.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah.
That's for sure. It's just a great place to live,
Yeah.
work, and make it. And you've sold me on the chamber, so I didn't know all this stuff existed. So I didn't know you had all the additional programs. I thought it was basically a luncheon,
Yep.
a little bit of networking, and I knew you had 101.
Right.
And I took 101 when I had joined a couple of years back.
Okay.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, wow. You know?
Yeah, there's like I said, we are member focused, opportunity driven. So we got to create those opportunities for you as members, and
Right.
that was the philosophy change I brought, and that I wanted to see happen. So little background
Okay.
is I was on the board. I used to handle marketing I was a director of marketing for a local restoration company.
Okay.
And one of the first things I did when I accepted that position in 2016 was say, we need to re-engage with chambers. And so we joined chambers. And I got, really involved with here in East Montgomery County. And it was like, this is a good group. I really like the feeling, what's going on here. Well, the next thing I know, I'm on the board.
Yeah.
And because I just dove right in.
Sure.
And so then the next thing I knew, I was a chair in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 2019, my predecessor, Rick Hatcher, had some things align in his life that gave him an opportunity that he was ready to retire.
Okay.
And so normally a board's responsibility, you have three primary responsibilities, but one of those additional ones is you're responsible for hiring the president and CEO of the organization. And so it was talked about and brought to me, would you consider this, Mark? And I was like, you couldn't have asked at a better time.
Yeah.
And because I already knew the inner workings, basically what our balance sheet looked like, what our P&Ls looked like, the back end of business for the chamber. But it was a perfect time to ask. So I said, yes, absolutely. So we came to, an agreement, and, my official start date was August 1st of 2019. So we're just celebrating that anniversary.
That's awesome.
Right now, I'm starting my fourth year. I'm starting on my fourth year, just completed 3. But what we didn't see coming was 2020, right?
Right.
And so that was a real dynamic changer, because we would have been celebrating 30 years as a
Big
chamber
challenge.
in 2020.
Right.
So we couldn't celebrate. So we're going to celebrate 35 years in 2025.
Sounds good.
To go back to your question, what do you plan in the next few years? But we do some special events too that you might not be aware of.
Okay. Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah. So one we developed is something called 411 sessions.
Okay.
Get dialed in to what's going on. And
I like it.
Yeah. And so it's a way for us to really put the informative side of what a chamber can do up front, rather than all the fun, friendly stuff that we might do at a luncheon and our other events. And so this next one is get dialed into what's going on with new residential development and how the public education is preparing for all this growth. So it's a real informative program. And so it's a 3-hour program. It includes lunch. We're going to actually hold that over at the community room at Randall Reed Stadium there at Valley Ranch. And so we've got 3 of the major developers. We're going to start south and move our way north.
Okay.
So the first of those, and people have been asking, what's that golf course going on over there off the Grand Parkway? Well, that's Caldwell Company's The Highlands. It's a beautiful master plan development. It's Fred Caldwell himself will be here, the CEO and founder of Caldwell Companies, to talk about that. He'll be one of the panelists on new residential developments.
Okay.
Move your way north a little bit to Friendswood Development, Tovola. That project is not finished.
Right.
Yep. You're starting to see the other side of the 59 being cleared. And so what does that
It's
really
going to be
look
cool
like?
looking over there too. I like what they're doing so far.
And I moved there actually. So when I took this position, I said, it's probably a good idea. I live in Montgomery County.
Yeah,
And
there you
so,
go.
yeah, me and my family took that opportunity to find a new home, and we moved into Tovola, and we're really enjoying the experience. So,
Cool.
So we're going to learn
Yeah.
about that from Michael Johnson. He is a VP of land development over a lot of their developments as well, but they're going to specifically talk about Tovola and what that looks like continuing and moving forward.
Okay.
And then recently announced from the Signorelli company, the senior VP, Mike Miller, will be here talking about the Splendora, 3,300 acres, 7,000 home master plan development that's happening off of 2090.
Right.
Right. And so you're seeing and no, this stuff doesn't happen overnight. There's not going to be 7,000 homes in a year. We're talking about
Right.
long-term planning, a master planned developments, but how can you learn about this, without just going to a website, really hearing the people behind the scenes talking about it, and then putting them on a panel that John Unterreiner will moderate for us and ask, some specific questions and about development. How do they come up with these ideas? How do you protect certain things that are important to the residents around you and address those issues? But more importantly, with all this growth coming, what does that mean to our public education system? Right?
What a challenge.
What a challenge
Good
that's
luck.
going to be. So, the other part of this is our public education system. So we'll have both superintendents on the panels as well, talking about how are they preparing and what does it look like now? What is it going to look like for them?
Right.
Because they've got to prepare for this growth that's coming, whether they like it or not.
Right.
It's coming. So how are they preparing for that? And Matt Calvert will be there. Dr. Jeff Burke will be there as well.
Sure.
And again, that's what this 411 session is all about. We look forward to doing more of these. We did our first one in January, which was on mobility and law enforcement.
Okay.
And it was well received. We got some good information, but it's an informative
And
deal.
on the mobility side, who did you have for mobility?
We had TxDOT here talking about
Okay.
their projects. We had people from the North Park project.
Okay.
They're building an overpass over there and
Right.
widening North Park as well. And then we had the commissioner here as well talking about the county road projects and where those were at.
Yeah, because I have
back in January.
concerns about infrastructure
Yeah.
with all the growth.
Yeah.
We already have traffic problems here, and with that many more people moving in, it just concerns me where are these roads going to come from?
Yeah, getting these people to the
You know?
table talking and understanding and not being reactive but proactive is pretty interesting. So it's just interesting to watch.
And I love how you guys are just charging that path. I
Yeah.
mean, that's great.
Yeah, we can
You
create
know?
the platforms, the dynamics to have those discussions and then see where it goes from there.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah. So the 411 sessions is something we'd like to do at least 2 of a year, possibly more, depending on the topics. So we're always looking, for topics that possibly you feel are important,
Right.
that you'd like to have covered, because it's not about membership so much at that point. It's about getting dialed in, to what's going on specifically in our community.
Right. Being cohesive with
yeah.
the community. It's
Yeah.
awesome. That's why you guys are growing, because you care.
Thanks.
So it's obvious. That's got to be it. So what kind of marketing opportunities are there within the chamber for your mom and pop shops, your
Right.
most small businesses?
Yeah, that's a real interest. Well, showing up again is the
That's a
best,
big deal, yeah.
That's the biggest thing you could ever do. But you have opportunities through our email blast to send out information to like 2,000.
Is that pretty effective?
It can be, yeah. Open rates aren't quite what they used to be, just because of COVID, everybody switched to sending emails, and we don't look at our inboxes the same way that we used to.
Right.
But we have sponsorship opportunities. Again, showing up to that breakfast, standing up with that microphone, and telling who you are and what you do each and every month makes a difference. Because someone I usually ask some sort of icebreaker question, and it may be something like, "What's your favorite ice cream?" And all of a sudden, someone across the room has the same unique thing, and you go connect with that person somehow. There's always something different, and but it's not just, there's nothing bland, that's going on. There's something, there's a fun element that's always happening. But for the interesting thing, and I'm glad you brought up for the small business. There's a lot of cities across the country that have a Main Street kind of concept. They've been established, and they maybe 100-year-old community with 100-year-old buildings that have opportunities for locations, physical locations. We don't have a lot of that. out here. And it was interesting. I'm originally from Tampa, Florida, and I went back to visit recently, and I went back with, I say with different lenses on, even though it's just a new pair of glasses. But I saw all these locally owned brands and all over the place, hundreds of them in a grid. My South Tampa, where I grew up, is basically a grid system, and there's specific streets that kind of cater to that, and they have a community that supports that. But it was built that way.
Yeah.
And this wasn't built that way out here. So you'll have, what we call mom and pops, or small. I like to call them local brands, and I have a real passion for local brands because they're what bring personality and keep communities unique. Because if we don't have them and they're not visible, we all become the exact same cookie cutter community up and down the freeway. So finding ways to not only support, but maybe finding a unique way to maybe give them a place. I think there's an opportunity there, and so hopefully a developer may see that opportunity. But you see concepts. The closest one probably to us is Old Town Spring, right?
Right.
And so you've got a concept there. It is a destination location, and so you're not having to go seek out just one place that may be somewhere over there.
Right.
What if there could be a central location that had a fun element, a food element, a local shopping element, all in one place? It's nothing I'm going to develop. I want someone. I'm just throwing.
It'll probably happen.
I'm throwing an idea out there. Someone needs to do it, and it doesn't have to be right on the freeway.
Right.
As long as you build that destination location concept to it, because you're going to see the larger developments. They have to cater to the big boxes.
Right.
Right. And we need them. The economic impact of the big boxes are huge. Not only tax base wise, but employment wise. So all those components are so important, to economic impact in any community. But I really would love to see something come.
It would be cool.
It would be so cool. I don't know what it is, and it doesn't need to be a Me Too to something so close. No, Old Town. We don't need to create an Old Town, but maybe a New Town.
Linabury Court.
Yeah, New Town.
But
it's gotta have something that resonates, and that's one of my favorite words, Hank. Is it's got to resonate.
Sure.
There's got to be a reason you want to go
talk
there.
To you.
Yeah.
Speak to you.
Yeah.
I agree with that. So how much does it cost to join the chamber?
Well, it depends. We kind of changed it to a small, medium, large kind of concept, made it easy. I think when I came in, we may have had 6 to 8 different levels of memberships, and it got a little confusing. So our basic core memberships are a silver membership, which is $350 a year.
Okay.
All right. And then we have a gold membership, which is $750. Okay. And that pays for itself in perks. If you utilize what's in there, you end up paying for the membership itself.
Okay.
And so that one's grown quite a bit as well. And then we have our platinum investor membership, which is $1,500, and there's all kinds of perks in there as well. And that one really took us by surprise. When I started in 2019, we had 8 platinum investors, which were basically your stakeholders.
HEBs,
your big larger companies,
the
HCAs, right? Entergy, those kind of companies. We have 62 platinum investors now. Because we packed it with a lot of value, within there. But it created a situation to where, our larger stakeholder companies weren't standing out as much anymore.
Right.
So we created a new level called the Distinguished Investor for them if they want to take that opportunity. But it's a $5,000 membership that has some prestige to it. Wow. But it's for the major stakeholders.
And I bet there's a bunch of those guys.
Well, we have our founding 4 that we started with. We just launched it this year. Right. So we have our founding 4. We've got a 5th getting ready that we'll be announcing here in the near future. And I'd like to keep it to 12. And we'll watch this progression over the next 3 to 5 years, because we know we're just going to continue to evolve and grow. And we will continue as well with our opportunities and trying to match everything up that makes sense for the small business owner all the way to the corporate level investor.
Awesome. So I'm going to hit you with a question, and it's kind of unexpected, but it's something that I've been thinking about since our earlier conversation. Do you think you guys will ever build your own facility? I mean, are you going to get to that point? It seems like you're getting close.
Well, for office space, no.
Maybe not for office
yeah.
space, but for meetings and
No.
luncheons and.
I don't know of, no, there's no plans
Wow.
thinking that way. Yeah, there's no plans thinking that way.
I guess you're just gonna have to put those tables closer together.
A double-decker system, you know.
There you go.
Maybe.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, that's,
You know.
well, I don't want to go into, let's go into the basics of economics, and supply and demand. If you want to control that,
Yeah.
what do? You raise
Yeah.
the price of the luncheons, but
Yeah.
we don't want to do that.
Yeah, because your luncheons are what, like $20?
25.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, well, it is for the quality of what we put on. I can guarantee you, and if you were in a metro area, you're paying $60 to go to an event like that. So we're not a bargain chamber, and we don't want to be a bargain chamber. We want to add value, but we want to make sure you're getting. And sometimes chambers can be known, just for doing this too. Just
Right.
can you give us this? Can you give us this? To me, it's always been about reciprocation. I want to make sure you're getting value out of what you're putting in. And so we clearly define what those expectations should be, and with your input and report on those. So what you're getting out of it as well. So it's not just, probably the worst phrase you ever hear in the chamber world is, well, I just never got anything out of it. And
yeah, that's because you didn't work it.
yeah.
That's it. I mean, you can't just join and kick
Right.
back and expect people to start knocking on the door. It doesn't happen that way.
No, that's not what a chamber's for. And
Right.
that's why it's so important to remember it really is about building relationships. Now, there is value in there. I got to tell you, on the online world, just our online directory alone on our website sees nearly 50,000 direct views last year.
Really?
Right.
Yeah,
And so,
wow.
yeah, so they're going in there and they are looking,
great.
and people use it as a resource. The chamber model's really changed over the years. It kind of was a community civic organization for a long time under the umbrella of a business organization.
Right.
And so you would, have parades, and you might have done some beautification projects, or you went and got a directory or map. Things, it just doesn't exist anymore that way. It doesn't resonate that way anymore. People don't walk into our office like they used to in the chamber world. So that's why we became member focused. We realized what we we're just a business membership organization, pure and simple. So we have to provide opportunities for those businesses to connect and grow, and that seems to be a working formula for us.
So can an individual join the chamber? Let's say you don't have a business, but you're retired and you just want to be involved. I mean, is that something you can do?
There's not a special membership for that,
But you can.
You could, absolutely.
Okay,
we
great.
do. We have a platinum investor. It's just a person's name. Her name is Kelly McDonald.
Okay.
And she is a platinum investor individual.
I know Kelly.
You know Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly's been on the show.
Yeah.
Kelly's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
So absolutely, you can join at any level
Okay.
as an individual.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, Mark, I appreciate you coming in today. Had a good talk. I knew we would. And I learned a bunch about the chamber that I didn't know, which I knew I would. And, this thing has grown and come together for one big reason. And I think a lot of that's you. You've got a great attitude and some good ideas about how things should be. And I think this chamber is going to grow and continue to be successful. But more importantly, I think it's going to continue to be good for the community. And that's, to me, that's what makes all the difference in the world. If you can get an entity, especially that large, that makes a positive impact in the community, I'm all for it.
Awesome. Thanks, Hank.
So I appreciate you coming in. I'm glad we got a chance to talk. And so there you have it, guys. East Montgomery County Chamber. You need to call them, go to their website. What's your website address?
GEMCChamber.com.
Okay, GEMCChamber.com. Go check it out. And there's a massive directory there. So if you want to find a company to do something, I guarantee you can find something that you're looking for. A lot of good members, a lot of good people, doing a lot of good stuff for East Montgomery County. And we need to support them. So make sure you book it early if you want to do lunch. So you need to wait till right after their lunch and try to book it then. And I'm sure the phones are ringing off the hook. But Mark, good to have you in, man. And I'm Hank. This is Hank's Think Tank, and we're out. All right.